Hi folks, I want to give you a garden update to show you how the garden's doing, but before I get into that I want to show you something kind of interesting. This overgrown jungle here is where the chicken pen was. The chicken coop is here. They used to have a ramp they could come out. It was an enclosed-in pen where they could be outside without, running off or have to be attacked. We have to be afraid of them getting attacked by anything, including our own dogs. But since we don't have chickens, I didn't do anything with it, and basically what's happened is the weeds took over. Well, I wasn't worried about it because I'm not using it for anything. I figured when I get to the end of the year I'll cut it all back down. But there was no grass in here to begin with after we got rid of the chickens because they had scratched everything out. But I want to show you something. I was walking by the other night and I looked over, and son of a gun, I don't know how, yeah, you should be able to see that on the camera. This tomato plant has come up through here. This is about a good 6 feet tall. It's a little taller than I am, just about 6 feet tall, I guess. And it came up through the jungle here. It's a volunteer, obviously. I didn't plant it. And given all the food scraps and things that were thrown in here for the chickens, it's not really surprising. What I want to do is I want to get my trimmer and try to string trim my way in through to get to it, to be able to look down further on the plant to see if there are actually any tomatoes growing. It's just insane that thing worked its way up through all the other jungle to get to the light, to get sunlight. But I guess you have this. Now, I didn't think about it, and this would have been a great idea if you're in a situation like this. Maybe you're smarter than I am about it. With the amount of chicken manure that fell on the ground in here in the pen from all the hours that the chickens were out here, the amount of fertilizer in this soil is probably incredible. And chicken manure is very heavy in nitrogen. It's one of the best manures in that regard. So you can see why the weeds took off. But maybe next year, if I can clear out all the weeds, I can actually do some planting in the pen. I could use the netting as kind of trellising. I could do some beans or maybe even some tomatoes here, and they should grow well because I'm sure there's much more manure in there. For years the chickens were using it, so there'll be a lot more nutrients for a long time. So if you're in a situation where you've got an abandoned chicken pen or some other place where you might have had cattle and it's not being used for that anymore, think about turning it into some planting space, because you already probably have quite a few nutrients in the soil as a result. So I'll come back to you in just a second here and we'll walk through the garden. You can see the progress that's made as we try to get a harvest in yet before the summer growing season's over. I'll be right back. The first part of this video I shot a couple weeks ago now. I'm back showing you this tomato plant, how it's grown in this time. Remember, it was in this jungle here in the in the chicken pen. But not only has it grown, if you look, you can see it's getting tomatoes. Little ones there and little ones there. In fact, I hacked my way in through the weeds there. I'll show you this in a second. To get to it to see, because I thought I saw something red in there. And sure enough, there was a huge red tomato in there. It must have been I don't know if it was a beefsteak or a big boy, one of those varieties. So I'm gonna stop the video now and show you the still shot, because I've already eaten half of it. It was too good to waste. So I'll put that in and I'll show you inside what is still to come here. Remember, this grew up all on its own. I had nothing to do with it. Didn't even know it was here until it popped its head up over top of this fence. I don't know, there could be some more plants in there somewhere. I haven't seen any more, but it's so thick in there, there could be more that are growing. I just don't know. But we'll see soon. So I just hacked along here. I didn't bother to get my trimmer out. I just had a sickle and cut some of the worst so I could get in at it. And by the time I got to here, look at this. Look at the size of these tomatoes, green tomatoes that are growing on here. And you can see there are a lot of little ones that, if we don't get frost, we may have quite the harvest going on here. There's some up in there. Well, you saw that from the outside. And even if you look back in there, there was another one I just saw from the outside, another tomato plant with some green tomatoes on it. Unbelievable. I mean, look at these are two decent sized tomatoes here. All of this, again, grew by itself in the midst of these weeds. Haven't watered it, so where it's getting the water, it must be because of the canopy of green here is kind of holding the water in. I don't know, but and it looks very, very healthy. That's a funny thing of it for a volunteer tomato plant. I'm just amazed. But hey, I'll take it. I don't know, as I said before, maybe next year, once I clear this jungle out of here after the frost and stuff, I can possibly use this to grow the tomatoes next year, because they could climb up the, the netting here. They could be tied up not the netting, the chicken wire. They could be tied up there, and I wouldn't need a separate trellis like I do out in the regular garden. But so that's a thought for anybody who might be wanting to know what to do with their old chicken pen. Oh, here's another. You can see here's another tomato plant that's growing in here. There's a little one on there. Again, I don't know if there's more over in there that I just can't see. I don't want to hack too much and cut them all off if they're in there, but I got to find them so I can get the tomatoes. I mean, these tomatoes are far healthier than the ones I have grown in my garden. And I'll show you that when we get to the next video here, when I give you the next update. So I just wanted to show you the results of this. Like I said a few weeks ago, I just saw this thing sticking up and thought it was a curiosity, but after seeing all the tomatoes that are growing on it, and like I said, if I have 3 or 4 more weeks of decent weather before the frost hits, which is possible, I might get a bunch of tomatoes off of this. So it's amazing. It's just amazing to me, but I'll take it. So when you're living out in the country on a shoestring and trying to be as self-sufficient as you can, you never know what little gifts will come your way. So thank the Lord for that. So thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe, follow us. Thank you for those of you who are, as we live out in the country on a shoestring.